am. So my name is Ian Chua. I actually brand myself as a wealth strategist. So what do I do, right, is that I actually, over the years, right, actually found great joy in helping working professionals, right, and their families to secure the ideal education for their children, and at the same time, achieving a lifetime of passive income during retirement 10 to 15 years earlier, irregardless of the market condition. Yeah. So having worked with so many working professionals, right, I realized that it is never easy being a parent these days. I believe majority of the I don't know, I see many of the videos are not on, so I couldn't really see. So those are videos that are on. I believe you guys are a parent or could be grandparents as well. So on one hand, right, you have to deal with the workload at work, right? Then on the other hand, you also have to handle the responsibilities at home. So these are the common I would say common lifestyle of Singaporeans that majority of them are facing. So living standards are rising, imported item cost a lot more for the average Singaporeans. Okay, so let me just share a bit about my life. Okay, fortunately, I was born with a silver spoon. So my grandfather, right, was a pioneer in the construction industry. So earlier years, right, in Sengkang, my grandfather was the contractor in charge of the entire earlier construction of the URA area. So very fortunately, my family was pretty well to do, I would say. That was back when I was really young. I couldn't even remember. I think it was primary school. Yeah. So has helped Singapore during its growing phase, right, in Singapore's public housing. However, a stroke to my grandfather, right, changed everything. And due to poor financial advice, right, our whole family was forced to bankruptcy and incurred a huge debt. So this is where I'm a very strong advocate of LPA, will. The reason why is because I personally experienced it before. I think I don't experience so much of the backlash because back then I was still very young, just playing block catching, don't really know what's going on. But I saw firsthand how hard my mom had to went through in grooming me and my sister up single-handedly. So without anything left for herself. So therefore, I made it to my mission to make financial literacy available to as many people as I can, because I feel that it just is if someone ever popped up and spoke to my grandfather just before the stroke happened, maybe things will not be so bad. So eventually, our entire family was declared bankrupt because majority of the properties that my mom and her siblings have, right, was given by my grandfather. So when bankruptcy happened, all have to be taken back. Okay. So that's why, right, with this mission that I have, right, my team and I have adopted the best practices and strategies, right, from UK, US, and Australia to help as many people as possible in 3 ways. Okay. All right. So firstly, right, to identify the strengths and weaknesses of their current finances. And then secondly, to enhance their assets and reduce their liabilities. And thirdly, right, to unlock their dead assets. So maybe I just and anybody here, right, maybe can key in the chat lah. Anybody here have any idea what is dead assets or what does it mean to them? Just have some interaction. And what are dead assets in your own opinion? No right or wrong answer. You can just type in the chat. So now I'm just looking at it. Any? No? No, we can just have a fun session together lah. All right. Okay. No worries. I think I can just move on. I can just carry on now. Okay. Okay. Having value of our wealth. Car. Okay. I think that's right. You guys are right. So what throughout this entire property, this is interesting. I will touch on this a little more later. This is interesting. So you guys have a rough idea what dead asset is, but don't really know exactly what it is. I will disclose later in my sharing. Okay. All right. So today we will, the topic is about how do you unlock your dead assets. So today, right, as you can see from here on the slides, right, there's these 3 red highlighted solutions that I provide, and I want to talk a little more today. So these are all the solutions that I provide for my clients. And then fortunately, as you can see, the bottom two logo, right? I actually represent the top 5% financial planner in the entire world. So MDRT being the US standard of 5% of the financial advisor. IDA, direct translation would be International Dragon Awards. That would also mean that I am the top 5% of the financial planner in the Chinese award ceremony, I would say. There's always these two award presentation, be it for acting. There's can't remember what's the name. I can't remember what's the name. At Hollywood they have their own award presentation. Hong Kong they have their own award. I think India also have their own award in the presentation. So similar, okay? Okay, so let me just share a little bit, right? The entire framework that I do for my clients, and at the same time, right, many of my clients love me because of this framework. Okay, so let me just go through quickly. So first of all, right, it's wealth protection. Okay, so it's something very simple, something that I believe everybody here should have been approached before, or should have been or would have avoided before. Insurance agent. So this is where we are talking about your insurance planning. Wealth protection. If you don't get your insurance done up, insurance can never make you rich, but it can prevent you from being poor. So this is why insurance planning is important, and you need to find the right fit of insurance to fit your portfolio. There'll be thousands of agents out there, right? Included people who have already left the industry, constantly coming up to you, telling you need to buy this, you need to buy that. But today, I hope that you guys have this financial literacy to understand whenever a financial consultant, financial advisor, or even insurance agent, bankers propose you a solution, right? You guys know that, okay, this does not fit my portfolio. Thank you. Instead of, I trust you, let's do it. So today's session, I hope that I can value add you guys in this segment and for wealth protection wise. Okay. So next up will be wealth accumulation. This is where I think majority of the people that is on YouTube, if you guys were serving YouTube, right? I'm sure there's a lot of gurus, your YouTube ads. If you give me 35 seconds of your time, they're always talking about wealth accumulation. I think this is something exciting. This is something attractive. But just a word of disclaimer, just make sure that you guys are properly educated in terms of different financial instruments. There are many instruments. I would even say millions of instruments out there: options, futures, forex. Make sure you know your risk appetite. And today we're going to discuss a little more on this as well, which is highlighted in red. Okay. And then next, this is wealth management. Okay, maybe I just do up a very, very quick engagement. Hopefully, you guys can just join me in this. Wealth accumulation, wealth management, many times, right, there's this confusion. So maybe can you guys just key in the chat, right? What does wealth management mean to you guys? Really quick one, I'm just looking at it. Oh, that's I just saw the date. It says someone mentioned wife. That's really interesting. Okay, so want to give it a try. Wealth management. What does wealth management mean to you guys? When you're hear about wealth management, what does it mean? Any answers? No? It's gonna take the next 5 to 15 seconds. If not, we'll move on. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just trying to make it this slightly more engaging. Rather than me talking all the way, right? You guys can just, on the side, behind your desk, just try to, maybe it's this. Making our assets value increasing, spend money wisely, manage of assets. Great answers. It is all three combined. So this is wealth management. There is a clear differentiation of wealth accumulation and wealth management. So I'm going to talk a little more about wealth management later on as well. Allocating your assets. It's about allocation. It's not about just, any guru out there, hey, invest. But everyone is different. Everyone has their own liabilities, have their own story. How can a product fit everybody? It's not possible. Even if it fits for everybody, how much? Like I mentioned earlier on, when we have this topic on 4D and Toto, right? Moderation. If you were to invest everything into Forex, provided you are extremely successful, if not, your risk to reward ratio is extremely risky. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just that we need to understand your own profile, your own story, right? And you still need to understand what are some of the things that you're looking for in life. Not everybody wants to drive a Lambo in life, to be very honest. Maybe this is youngster dream. Maybe many of our slightly at older ages clients, all they want is just to see their grandchild being happy. Different goals. So I don't believe that there's one financial instrument can fit everybody of every age, every profile. I think that is why there's so many scams going on, because nobody bothers to understand you on a deeper level. So this is later on I'll just explain and share with you guys a certain perspective so that you can make better informed financial decision for yourself. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to quickly browse through the next few segments. I'm not going to talk so much on that because today's topic, right, is more on unlocking your data sets. Okay. So wealth preservation, this is something that is very similar to wealth management. It's more of reducing your risk and at the same time making sure that whatever that you have accumulated in your earlier years, right, will be able and is sufficient for you to sustain the kind of lifestyle that you dream of. Don't have to be very fanciful. Truthfully, what kind of life do you truly want? Okay. And lastly, wealth distribution. This is something I personally experienced before because of my family, my akong. When he got into a stroke, there's a lot of mishandling of funds between the siblings of my mother. So eventually the company got bankrupt. But if there's LPA done up, will and trust is done up, right? This will not happen. And I'm a firm believer in that. So this is something that I'm not going to talk too much, or rather I won't even talk about it today. But of course, if you guys are keen to find out more, right, we can have a discussion outside of this. All right. So this is the framework that I do for my clients, and they love it. The reason why is because there is a step-by-step process based on their age group, based on their profile. I'm not just every single time when I meet my clients to share with them certain concepts, certain framework, or even a simple review, a financial health report. How many of us here, right, have a financial report card? Anyone have? I can just type in the chat. If not, I can just move on, right? Yes, no? Oh, okay. So I just assume that everybody have it, okay? So there's this analogy that I'm 30 this year, I have a kid yet, planning to have one next year. So I was thinking, would I send my son, right, to a school that doesn't provide a report card? Would any of y'all here do that? Meaning you have no way to track how's your son's progress like, But no, right? That's the standard education system. Of course, there's definitely a lot of different opinions on Singapore's education system. I'm gonna leave it there to another day to debate. But I firmly believe in, at the very least, there has to be a certain report card to track your children's progress. Doesn't have to be academically wise. It could be their interest, their hobby. Similarly to our financial situation, right? If we don't have a financial report card, how do we know that we are on track to whatever they are aiming for? Or are we just living day to day, trying to survive? Or are we truly living? So this is something that I came up for my clients, which is why there's this framework to provide a financial report card whenever you know that the next milestone is reaching what is needed, and also there's a lot of consideration to look into it. Yeah, so this is the framework that I do for my clients. Today I'm going to just talk with focus on the first three. Okay. All right. So I'm just sharing from my personal opinion. This is on the topic of wealth protection. So is it okay if I don't share my company name? Yeah. Can I just have a general consensus that this is based on my personal opinion? Yes? Okay, so I'm just gonna assume lah. I'm just gonna assume that everybody say yes lah. Okay, I don't see any response yet. Okay, so let me show you how I plan for my own life insurance. You know, I would never recommend something to my clients, right, if I don't endorse it. This is my mantra lah, I'll say. Okay, so let me just move on. All right. So can you all see the slides? Yes. All right. So in my own opinion, if a person is single, right, and there's no dependent, he doesn't need life insurance. Yeah. But if he has elderly dependents or get married, has kids, car loan, business loan, as your responsibility and liabilities go up, right, you will of course need more coverage. You know, insurance is just a transference of risk. It's whether you come up with your own money from your pocket or the various insurance company pay for you. It's just as simple as that. Of course, you can, you know, there's a lot of topics out there that we're talking about, you know, what if I don't get anything? There's a lot of different structures on how financial solution is being constructed. So there's definitely a sweet spot, right, for each of your personal profile. Yeah. So the peak is around 40 to 50 years old. So as you can see from here, this bell curve. But would it continue? No. We all will age. Eventually, over time, right, our parents will pass on. Kids will grow up and be independent. So by then, right, do you think you still need that much life insurance? I'm sure we all know the answer is no. You know, so this is where I personally experienced it before I enter this financial industry, before I have this mission that you know, I want to make sure that financial literacy is available to everybody. Back then, when I was younger, I'm talking about 21, 22 years old, okay? You know, roadshow, I believe some of you experienced before, the typical insurance agent or bankers. You know, hey, can you give me 5 minutes of your time, you know, let me sit down, let's see. Now let me share with you some interesting concept, savings plan. Savings plan that's able to generate 60 times more than a bank account interest. Now, I'm not sure if any of you heard it before. I personally experienced it before, which is what I thought was, because since young, at a very young age of 19 years old, right, I actually read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read this book called Fishing with Buffett by Sean Seah. This changed my entire concept, right, about money, about financial planning, about, you know, managing your money. So I always have a very I always love investments. When I was very young, I actually save up money, right? I actually at army times, right, just invest into very small REITs in Singapore. So I was very fortunate back then. You know, I invested about 2 to 3 years. I gather about $10,000 as my portfolio. It's not something huge. I believe majority of us here probably have assets more than this. But that was a milestone for me when I was at about 23, when I was in army. I was like, yes, wow, by DG. My army pay was about $600. I was a corporal lah. So hey, wow, quite sure, $10,000. So whenever I sit down with roadshow agents, I feel very turned off. You know, do you all recommend anything else apart from savings plan? I believe as a you know, holistic financial consultant, right? You gotta have investment knowledge. You gotta know how the market works. You gotta understand what the various financial instruments out there that's able to complement your client's profile. So from there on, which is why I actually entered this industry. I'm someone who loves investment, and I can touch on a little bit more later. Yeah. So of course, so as you can see from here, if you were to meet back then, right, if you recall your very first policy that you bought from your own advisor, so this is what will happen when you're younger, right? You buy some more. Every single time there's a review, right? He'll ask you, yeah, maybe I just give an example. Mr. Lim, there's this product, very good, you know, very good for your whole life plan. Wow, very good. Supplement your coverage. The critical illness now covers a lot of illnesses. Yeah, very good one. I should consider getting it. Then you buy because you trust him. Then if next year come back again, you buy again. And it's normal. This is what I've been experiencing from my clients. You know, every time they tell me, wow, Ian, you're very different, you know. Every time I meet you for coffee, right, you don't ask me for buy plan on it. Then I say that no need yet. You haven't reached your next milestone. Why keep buying? Why? I don't understand. Why do you keep buying? Why not use this money to grow something else? You know, grow, I don't know. Come on with a side income, do something else. Don't just keep buying. Yeah. And then eventually you die. And then you realize that, let me just do quickly. You realize that, give me a minute, yeah. Right. So you realize that, so you can realize, right, if you take a look at it, just outside this bell curve, right, do you realize there's this gap, there's this air, there's this empty space. These are the money wasted in life insurance. I'm speaking in the perspective of investors. And as an investor, you know, there's a lot of concepts out there. Buy term, invest the rest. I'm a believer. I wouldn't say I'm a firm believer. So I'm going to share with you my perspective and why do I feel that, you know, a holistic planning, right, consists of both. Okay, so let me touch on that. So how do we keep our insurance costs, right, lean and mean? I use permanent solutions, right, for my permanent needs. You can see from here, the blue line. So I use temporary solution for permanent needs. For temporary needs, sorry. So as you can see from here. And then these are the two key insurance that you need in your lifetime. Lifetime hospital and surgical medical plan. Lifetime critical illness, because illnesses will hit. When such thing happens, right, you prefer to use your money or insurance company money. I think it's something that everybody heard before, but you guys should give it a more serious thought. But of course, the idea here is don't get too much. Okay. So provided it's cost effective, right, we'll choose insurance company, right? For critical illness, right, we typically use whole life insurance with limited pay. So it's like you pay for your home installment payment. You prefer to pay for a limited period and own the house fully compared to rental. Which one do you prefer? You pay a limited time for a critical illness policy. It covers you up to age 100 with various illnesses covered. Compared to buy term, invest the rest, you have to pay for the rest of your life. Of course, it's cheaper, but you know, if we're going to go down to this road of you know, I wouldn't say comparison, but detailed analysis, right? I can show you guys that term plan over the long run, right? You know, considering the fact that you're going to pay for such a long time, right? Depending on when you bought the policy, right? Certain scenario, term plan will be slightly more costly than whole life plan. We can have this discussion after this. Okay. So this allows you to own coverage for life, but you only pay for 20 to 25 years. That's what whole life limited pay is about. So this is the permanent solution that, you know, I do for my clients. So when it comes to CI, right, critical illness, there are 3 M's: major illnesses, multiple claim CI, and minor illnesses. In my personal opinion, major illnesses is more important than minor illnesses. If you have extra, right, it's good to have. But if not, right, get major illnesses first. It may not be fully capable for all situations, right? But there might be a cap. Yeah. So major illnesses, right? Sorry. Yeah, major illnesses, right, sometimes can cost up to 6 figures. So in order of priority, right, major illnesses, multi-claim, and then early stage. So why multi-claim? I'm sure this is something new. I believe some of the audiences over here, right, probably back then when you guys are younger, right, multi-claim is not something available. I don't think early critical illness was even something available to you guys. You know, when I was just reviewing majority of my clients' portfolio, right, there's a lot of whole life plan back then. There's no such thing as early critical illness. So, you know, similar as the entire world improves, right, insurance improves as well. So this is why, you know, there will be new feature launched. There will be new illnesses covered, more illnesses covered, more ways to make sure that you're able to utilize your claim. So why multiple claim? Based on the food we eat today and the stress we face, right? Is it possible for average person to get stroke or heart attack in their 40s? How many of you here, right, your own personal friends, circle your own community, the people within your community, right, have gotten stroke or heart attack in their 40s? So my akong got it at around the age of about 55. I'm sure some of your friends or even you know, some of your colleagues probably heard of some of this news. right? So if you only buy major illnesses, can you claim more than once? Cannot. Can you buy again? Cannot. The moment once you're diagnosed with cancer or whatever major illnesses, right? Insurance company is still a company. They have to be profitable. They have to make sure that, you know, whatever claims that they pay out, right, it would not eat into, they will not make a loss, because if they are constantly making a loss every single year, investors will leave the company and the company will cease to exist. Which is why the moment once you are diagnosed with a major illnesses, right, there's no way you can buy into there's no way you can get yourself insured. You don't qualify, which is why. So settle the major first, then multi-claim, then early CI. Yeah, so this is my own personal opinion. This is how I plan for myself as well. Okay, so in properties, then this is something more interesting, right? Singapore is a booming property market, although I feel that right now it's slightly slowing down. But okay, so in properties, right, there's leasehold and freehold. So which one is more expensive? I'm sure maybe some of you guys are property investors over here. I think the answer is quite clear-cut, right? So properties is very similar to insurance as well. This is freehold, which is why it's more expensive at the start. So make sure, right, you buy enough. Don't buy too much, because it is resource intensive. To give you this booster during this limited period till you're 65 or financially free, right, we use temporary solution, which is term plan. So you can see from here, you can see the arrow up. We use temporary solution when you are at the desired life stages whereby your liability is at the highest. You have your car loan. You know, some of you were talking about the debt assets, which is right. Car loan, house, and which is why you use term to cover all these liabilities, because you wouldn't want, if anything happened, let's not just talk about death. Let's talk about, you know, disability and stuff. How are you going to finance your flat? How are you going to finance your car? Car, I think it's still fine. You can just sell it off. But flat, what if right now, you know, and just give you an example. Maybe you just bought a new flat, new HDB, your MOP. You need to wait for 5 years before you can sell it off. Something happened to you. Yeah. Assuming you don't pass on, or the criteria don't hit home dependent protection scheme, you don't get a payout for your flat. How are you going to continue maintain your flat if there's no CPF contribution coming every month? And that is where term plan comes in, because term plan is slightly more affordable, and it's only advisable to pay for a limit of time. Yeah. So in the past, right, was anybody keen to sell you term? Anybody? You know, you always see a lot of forums, right? They always share about getting term plan. But whenever you meet each agent on insurance, right, they always share with you about whole life plan. They always tell you about all this, right? Bankers especially. Why? Because lower premium, right, is the most effective way to get temporary coverage. But for agents, right, you know, that's why, you know, I'm speaking in a perspective as an investor. My mantra over here is to make sure that my clients are sufficiently covered. That will do, not overly insured, so that the remaining money they have, the remaining surplus they have, they can use to accumulate cash and be financially free. I think there's this topic that's rather popular recently, FIRE, financial independence, retire early. How can you do that if you're constantly paying for your insurance? Right? Insurance is the worst tool for wealth accumulation. And the irony is, you know, I myself as a financial consultant, I provide all the services, but I have to make sure that my clients are only ethically covered, not over. Okay. So, you know, I'm sure there's this topic. Have you heard of buy term, invest the rest? I'm sure everybody heard of it. It's a good approach in theory, but in reality, right, many people, right, buy term and spend the rest, right? Who else buy term and lose the rest to scam? Anybody here? Yeah, personally, when I was young, I don't buy term, but I mean, I lose myself to scams, Ponzi schemes when I was younger. So right now, I'm actually more wary. You know, I'm always looking at MAS watch list, making sure that whenever my client come to me, right, hey, Ian, what is lobang, like not bad. I make sure that I know, at the very least, I know what is it about. Roughly, I don't have to know in details, but at least I know what he's talking about, so that I can give, you know, proper financial advice. Yeah. So unless you have expertise, right, in this business, right, you won't know this. But there are certain scenarios, right? So as you can see from here. So there are certain scenarios, right? Sorry. So there are certain scenarios where ILPs, right, are better than term. The bankers won't tell you this because they also don't know. I know as a fellow investors, right, we don't like to mix insurance with investments. I think this is a common consensus right there, right outside in the market. A 保险就保险啦, insurance just keep to insurance. Don't mix with investment, right? Yeah, but why do I choose to mix both? Let me just share with you my thoughts. It's never for the investment. We will go deeper at the cost of the insurance. There are certain scenarios, right, where the cost of insurance is cheaper than term. That's why we look at ILPs. And on top of that, right, we can also reduce and increase our coverage accordingly to your bell curve. And that's how flexible it is. Can you imagine when you reach the age of 40, right, you purchase a term plan. When you reach the age of 50, maybe your kids need to go uni, you have more liabilities. You need to make sure that, maybe you're upgrading to a new condo, buying a second car. Example, are you going to buy a term plan again? No, right? If you keep buying term plan, right, your entry age, the premium is going to increase. And it doesn't make sense anymore. You keep buying term plan. Which is why in certain scenario, ILPs make sense. Of course, this is a case-to-case basis. Which is why I thought that, it's very important that I share with everybody here, and not just, Singapore Microcomputer Society. Anybody within my community, I need to make sure that they know so that they can make their own decision. We as a financial consultant, we provide insights. We provide certain framework to financial planning. But if insurance agents or banker, right, the moment when you sit there, they push you a product, right, I want to think twice already. Do they really know you? They know how much you have behind your bank account because they can see, but do they know your situation? How much loan are you having? What other loans are you currently, do you have like personal credit card loans that you signing up for your courses? Credit card or CPF, right, that you have done an education plan for your kids. Do they know? They don't. They only want to hit their target. They will push you certain products, right, that they feel is the easiest to sell. And I hate it because personally, my mom was a victim of it. Before I joined this industry, so back then my mom bought I think 5+8. I think this is something common. 5+8. This is the funny thing. My mom strike 4D. So quite a huge amount. So she thought that she wanted to use this to grow. It was about 30,000. So she thought that she only use this to grow for my sister's uni. For fun fact, right, I'm someone without a uni degree. I only completed my diploma. So my sister wanted to further study. So my mom took this 30,000, went to the bank. She don't know English. Back then, there was don't have this clause, right, to say that, a vulnerable clients, if you don't know English, you need to have a trusted individual. Back then, don't have. My mom secretly went to the bank, bought this for 5 years, 6,000 a year, and then the banker, right, told her that, Auntie, 你不用怕, Auntie, don't need worry. This one, right, 5 years later, if you really need, you can withdraw. We all know 5+8, right? When you pay finish your premium term, if you were to surrender, you confirm make loss. You only break even maybe 5 years later. Yeah. So when it's time for my sister to go uni, my mom want to withdraw. I called the bank. The bank say, this is your mom signed this contract. The banker is no longer working with us. Anyone here experienced the same thing? I was furious. I was so angry. I was trying to reach out to the CEO, even though I know that there's no way. I was trying my best to reach out, right, to the CEO of I'm not going to name banks. Yeah, but no point. So in the end, my mom continued to wait. So back then, that was when I started working part-time just to fund my sister's allowance. I don't have the ability to pay for her fees. So mom was borrowing money here and there. Not very good financial planning done on my mom's side. Because of financial literacy, nobody taught her that. Which is why I believe in this a lot. I want to make sure that nobody experienced this. Yeah. So that is why today sharing, I want to make sure that all of us here at least have a certain idea. What is the ethical coverage? You don't have to be very accurate, rough sensing. Yeah. So for term, if you never declare, you change your address, right? Or payment was not received, right? Or if your agent changed, right, nobody will take care of it. It will lapse. Then how? Then your coverage is gone. Something happened. then this is where, I'll call it like financial catastrophe. Like, your family will have to suffer because if financial consultant were to leave the industry, payment is not received, or you change your address, you need to update your agent, this is where things will happen. But ILP has this thing called premium holiday. So for that reason, right, I choose ILP for certain scenario. Yeah. So, up to this point, right, maybe I just take a very quick 1 minute. Everybody follow me? If you guys are still following me, right, you can just type yes in the chat so that I can proceed on to my next segment. Yes? Okay. Awesome. Maybe I can get a few more responses. I want to, then you're like a bullet train, then people don't really understand. And ultimately, this is 1 hour of your weekend, evening, you would have spent with your family, but I chose to spend with me. Yeah? Okay. So I think I'm just going to move on. So this is the wealth protection framework, right, I do for myself. As an investor, this is the framework that I have for myself, and I implement it for my clients as well. Okay. All right. So next up, anybody here is a soccer fan? Anybody here is a soccer fan? Yes. No. Yes. Wow. Okay. Which team do you all support? Well, recently I think the big news is Man U, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, and the gala match, is it? 5-0. There's a lot of jokes and memes out there, right? That when if you're Liverpool, if let's say, okay, interesting. Ashley, that's great. So I think this analogy, right? This framework over here will be something exciting to you guys, I believe. Yeah. So this is a soccer field. Okay. So let me just draw really quickly. So there's a coach. So there's a total of 11 players, right? So this is the strategy, or even this is the strategy, right? Usually teams implement 4-4, 4-4-2, and stuff like that. Yeah. So okay. So there's goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and striker. All right. So imagine you're a coach of a soccer player. Okay, I'm sure here, right, there'll be certain incident when we're watching the soccer game. Hey, if I the player, right, if I the coach, I will place this player here. I'm not sure if you guys have. I personally have, like, when I'm watching, right, very passionate. I don't really support soccer, but I enjoy watching it because I think that there's a very high level competition. There's so much stress. There's so much decision making, right? You need to be able to be spot on. Like people like Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo's, their decision making is always on point. So I enjoy watching. I don't support anything. I just love to watch soccer in general. So I always watch highlights on YouTube. So let's imagine if you're a coach of a soccer team, right? Would you rather place all your players to be a striker? Can say yes, no. I just keep it engaging lah. I hope this is exciting for you guys since this is soccer. No? Yes? Okay, so I'm just gonna assume, right? Of course, no lah. Who will place 11 Cristiano Ronaldo? Nobody, right? Because you might be strong, but there's no one to defend. Yeah? And you might lose it all. Will you put all 11 as goalkeepers? Can you imagine 11 Mendy, Chelsea? I think this is a hot goalkeeper right now, or the PSG goalkeeper. Will you put all 11 as goalkeeper? Maybe. You might not lose, but you won't win either lah. Every single game is 0-0, 0-0. You can never score. Yeah. Right. So as a coach, right, they normally, right, have one person in charge of their players, 4 defenders, and then there's a goalkeeper, midfield, and strikers. Right. The strength and weaknesses of the players, right, are dependent on the strength and weaknesses of the opponent. It is fluid, and the coach will change according to situation. Agree? Recently, I think Man U has came into a heavy fire. Ole, I think there's a lot of fire, and there's a lot of pressure on him. And I think this is something that he has to figure out. Yeah. So The person in charge. So today, right? There must be certain kick to this lah. Cannot be just come in and share soccer, right? So the person in charge in financial planning, right, is your wealth manager. So let's run through your asset allocation. So this is something that some of you all are posted in the chat, right? So let's run through your asset allocation. The goalkeeper, right, is the last line of defense, and ensure that you don't lose. So this is basically, right, your emergency funds and insurance. That's your goalkeeper. Earlier on I mentioned insurance will make you rich, but it will not make you poor. This is your goalkeeper, lor. So at least anything happen, right, your life won't get scored, lah, right? So in time of crisis, right, this is where your tools will come in handy. Okay. So defenders, right, are your bonds, endowments, CPF, capital guaranteed products, not to help you win, but are there, right, to give stability to your portfolio. These generally, right, give you a fixed income with high volatility, right? So next up, right, I think there's something very exciting, which is why, very similar consensus. Do you realize why, right, soccer strikers are most of the majority of time are more well known? Because they score goals, exciting goal, everybody, all the fans cheer, similar to your financial planning as well. Striker are business, investing in stocks and alternate investment. I was just going through your YouTube channel, right? And I realized that you guys talk about cryptocurrencies. Right now, cryptocurrencies is something in trend. Altcoin, meme coins, and stuff like that. I myself is still learning, still studying cryptocurrency, so I don't think I'm the best person to touch on this topic. But it's exciting. His own business, investing in stock, forex, it's exciting because you are able to generate really high returns. But most of the time, people don't share with their losses. Yeah. So option and forex trading, right, is an active income. It is not passive. You have to be there, right, making in front of the screen, making sure that you're making money every single day. Assuming that one day, touch wood, if you were to go blind, are you able to do options trading? No. So this is why this is the striker of your portfolio. It's exciting, but you still need something to supplement, to support. Every striker, right, is only as good if the midfielder is able to pass them the ball. So now I'm sure you guys are wondering, so what is midfielder? Hey, Ian, you just like beating around the bush lah. What is midfielder, right? So for midfielder, right, my answer is not going to be exciting. In fact, right, it is going to be rather boring. So are you ready for the answer? So would you rather make money boringly, right, or would you rather lose money excitingly? I think this is something that is really important in this current climate. Many of my clients, they're coming to me, they're speaking to me because most of us are working from home. We have more access, we have more time to search the web, try to grow our money, making sure that we can hit our FIRE, financial independence, retirement early, faster. So because of that, our mentality, our psychology, right, is telling us that, okay, let's make money in the fastest, easiest possible time. Right. So this is where it's very scary because like I mentioned earlier on, I think this is an Asian culture. A lot of my clients, they come to me talking about crypto. Wow, Ian, yesterday there's this Shiba Inu coin. It went up close to 300% in a day. I feel that I'm missing out. You think I can invest? So this is the definition. Would you rather make money boringly or would you rather lose money excitingly? No doubt. If you guys follow this Shiba Inu coin overnight, yesterday it shoot up 300%. If you were to check today, it dropped close to 30%. Is this something that you guys are ready for? Right. So midfielder is not exciting, but there's a place for it. Unit trust or ILP, right? I told you it was boring and not exciting. But even though it's boring, right, there is a place for this. While it's not exciting, your unit trust and ILP, right, allows you to be aggressive when you want to, defensive when you need to. Soccer fans out there, a good midfielder, right, is able to, attack, push push forward when the team needs you to, and fall back, right, to defend, right, when your team when your team needs to as well. I think some of the famous players like Thiago Silva, I think in Chelsea there's this Kante. They're very strong because they're able to attack when you want to, defend when you need to. Similar as ILP, right? All right. So, have you ever heard this saying, right? When US sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. Have you heard of this before? Yes. I think this signifies that in the past, US is the big brother, 大师兄 of the world, right? So these days, right, when China sneezes, right, the whole world suffers, right? I mean, the whole world will suffer, tuberculosis or even COVID, right? That's the impact of China right now. Now, in the backdrop of US and China, right, the whole world watches with fear. No matter how good these countries are, let me ask you a question, right? Where will most of the assets be? Insurance and cash in Singapore, correct? Bank accounts, various insurance companies. How about your bonds and endowment and CPF? Again, in Singapore. How about your businesses? Singapore also. So stock market, maybe some of you have experience with trading in the US market, but majority of us probably to kickstart stock market, including myself, I invested into REITs, SGX in Singapore as well, right? So I respect that we are all patriotic, right? We love our country, but does it make sense, right, for all your assets to be in this small dot? We are Singaporean, one small dot in the entire global financial system. Right. So put yourself in my shoes. As an advisor, so let's have this scenario. As an advisor, right, would you advise me to stake all my assets, my entire future well-being, right, my family's well-being into this one dot? Does that make sense to you? No, right? Yeah. So what's the advantage of a platform or ILP? Okay. So the moment you invest with a fund manager, right, he is responsible to deploy your money into all the countries. Adidas in Germany, US Stock Exchange, Japanese yen, and China renminbi. Yeah. So when your money is invested across different countries and sectors, right, by self, it forms a natural hedging against country risk, sector risk. Your risk is diversified. On your own, could you have done it efficiently? Maybe yes. But the amount of time and resources required and the amount of experience, skill set, knowledge that you have, you probably need to have a certain level before you're able to do it, do this efficiently. Yeah. So as a defensive strategy, it makes sense due to the diversification. As an offensive strategy, it also makes sense. So for example, you are Singaporean. So between Singapore and China, right, which country has a bigger chance of economic growth in the next 20 to 30 years? Let me just quickly check the chat, right? Okay. I'm sure the answer is quite obvious. China, right? If you are only in Singapore and your money is only in Singapore, you're missing out the best idea in all these different countries, right? Will you have time to do the research on the best ideas, right, in all these countries? Obviously not. Because if you have, right, you're probably a fund manager, right? Right. To be very fair. Yeah. So now you can see this works as an offensive and defensive strategy, right? So do you agree with me, right, that to be successful, you have to be devoted and give undivided attention? Do you agree that there needs to be a lot of time put to develop expertise? I'm sure many of you guys, the audiences here, right, probably achieve a certain level of expertise, right, in IT. I mean, this is an assumption because this is Singapore Microcomputer Society. You are where you are today because you put in undivided attention, you put in years of experience, you put in time to learn, to gain more knowledge, to be updated to the latest software, to achieve whatever you achieve today, right? So you guys have been very successful so far because you have focused on what you do, right? Do you have the same focus and time to allocate to your investment? Right now, maybe some of you guys have, maybe some of you guys are pre-retirees. I'm not sure. These are just assumptions because it'd be great and I can have engagement, but I'm just assuming right? Highly unlikely. If people of my age, I probably want to focus on my craft. But my craft is in investment, which is why I'm helping my clients in all this assets allocation and looking dive deep into their individual profile based on their age group, based on their background, based on even their spouse, their kids. What's the needs? What is needed? Are you able to set aside a small amount to invest? Or do you actually need cash by your side right now? For me, it's always about financial literacy. And I think this is the reason why majority of my clients love me. I'm not going to push you product. Never. If I don't share with you a framework, you don't agree with me, no product over here. This is my assurance to all my clients. I can meet you to update you what are some of the products that might benefit you. But since you already have your own framework, you would have known how to make a better decision. Just say don't. I always tell my clients, say no to me. Don't always say yes, because this is where a lot of people feel that insurance agent and bankers out there are hard selling. Hey, this is good lah. Hey, there's a promotion ongoing. You need to get it now. There's a deadline. There's always promotion. There is always another discount. There's always new product coming out. But what important is this framework has to stay within your profile. This framework, this assets allocation strategy, right, has to change based on your age group, milestone, and also the liabilities of your entire family and your life stages as well. Right? Okay. So, which is why these fund managers, right, are paid for a reason. They are paid to look at the best ideas 24/7, right, to deliver performance to you. Of course, they come with a cost. Because you're paying with them, right? I'm sure this is something that majority of the people, there's a lot of articles out there, some of the platforms out there, what are some of the unit trusts that provide the lowest management costs, right? In fact, right, you want to pay them. Why? My thing, right? Let me ask you a very, very quick question. You hire a fund manager for performance compared to you buying and holding, right? They will charge you extra money for alpha. Yeah? If your performance generated better performance than your fee, will you pay the fee? Of course. So do you agree with me, for a company to be successful, they need to hire the right talent to run a business? Yes? Similar to, all the majority of the audiences here, right? For your company, right, the company that either you own or you're working for, to be successful, they have to hire you because you're the right talent for the company, right? If not, the company can't function without you guys in a way or another. It depends based on your influence in the company, knowledge, expertise, correct? So now, do good talents run cheap? So audiences here, right, would you be where you are right now in your position, in your company, receiving half of your pay? Are you able to solve it out? Obviously not, right? No, right? We all, everybody look at money differently. Some is for survival, some is for luxury, some is for, to cultivate hobbies. Whatever, everybody has their own goals and different things they set out to do for. So obviously not. You'll pay a decent amount of salary to attract the right talent and to ensure your business is successful, correct? Similar to companies that hire you guys or companies that you own, you're looking out for talents. You'll pay high for people with good background, experience, and expertise, right? So here's the thing. Why are we not doing the same for our investments? Why do we choose to be cheap, right, when it comes to hiring the best fund managers? Yeah. So first of all, how much investment assets, right, are you putting aside? Assuming it's 200,000 stated in the slides, right? Let's say the fee is 2%. Yeah. The fee will be then 4,000. Okay. Divided by 12 months is 333 per month. I think it's quite clear cut. How about this? If I were to pay you 333 per month, how about you find me a professional CFA or Harvard graduate, MIT grad, for them to manage my money? Can y'all do it? Can you? So this is where, will you be able to hire any of them for 300 a month? You think any Harvard graduate, right, will tell you that, okay, will tell me that, hey, Ian, I want to help you manage your money, right, for $300 a month. If a Harvard graduate tell me that, right, that specialize in econs, that specialize in certain financial derivatives or instruments, I will pay the $300. It is so cheap, right? So having chances are, right, we are not able to. There's a reason why they spend so much money overseas and study, went through courses to make sure they get CFA, right? Having professionals to manage your money, right, used to be a privilege for the extremely wealthy in the past. Not for people like us, to be honest. But today, right, because of the unit trust structure, now it is made available to the average man on the street like you and I. In the past, I think we're talking about 20, 30 years back then. If you want to get someone to manage for you, probably they have to be a remiser. They charge a certain percentage, or you need to invest into hedge funds. And you need to have a minimum quantum to even invest into hedge funds. But right now, the entire industry is revolutionizing. They're trying to give retail investors more access to let our money, right, managed by institutional investors, institutional investors. Okay, so today we have access to the same advantage because we're allocating our resources together, right? So my job, right, as a fund manager, right, is to help you select the best fund manager and the most suitable fund to invest in. If they don't do their job, we will fire them, right? And we will sort them out so that your investment is well managed. So this is what I do for my clients. There is a framework behind it. Every single time when we meet, if there's a certain change of risk life stages, milestone, then that's where our study, I will commit 8 professional hours, right, to come out with an analysis to make sure that, this is something that, your life stage has changed. Let's shift some of the funds. It could be from more equities to more bonds and fixed income. Or maybe, when you reach the age of 50, your liability is high, you just decided to, okay, I just want to shift to bonds. After that, your son graduated from uni, your son moved out. Maybe this is where maybe I want to aggressively accumulate my units, accumulate my wealth, right, in the next 10 years to prepare for my retirement. I can shift from bonds, fixed income to equities. And then what are some of the sectors right now are slightly higher risk? What are some of the sectors, tech sectors right now, I think is booming. China as well, recently there's a lot of policies by the China government. I'm not sure if any of you are aware. These are the resources they are fed to me every single day. Every Friday, my company have a webinar, right, to update us on what are the latest funds, right, by the top dean list in NUS that studies in econs. So the news might not be as updated as people who works in SGX, Wall Street. But at the very least, right, I'm able to give an accurate analysis based on your profile for my clients, which is why, majority of them, they love it. Whenever I meet them for coffee, right, they be like, hey, Ian, share with you this new thing I want to buy, this new Rolex watch. You think can or not? Yeah, I'm a firm believer, right? Once your financial planning is done, just do stuff that you enjoy. I mean, life is short, but make sure that you do it up so that you don't jeopardize whatever that you set out for. There is always a time to play. There is always a time, to be committed, to be disciplined. So this is my mantra. Once you have done your proper financial planning, go and spend your money. Go and enjoy the things that you truly love. You don't have to buy luxury stuff. It could be just simple stuff like traveling, go to Vietnam, maybe go to Batam, have a simple massage. I think that's okay. What is life all about, right? If it's not worth living, if it's always constantly only about survival, I think that's very stressful. And I think Singapore, there's this very popular rat race that majority of people are in it. They're for survival, trying to climb the next ladder. So once all of this done up, we should focus on the wealth accumulation and wealth management. So this entire portion I'm talking about is wealth accumulation and management. Using soccer analogy to show you that, as a coach, as a wealth manager, I will be able to help you allocate, right, based on the strategy that you need. In soccer, your enemy is your opponent. In financial planning, right, your enemy, it could be disaster. It could be a change or shift of life stages. Those are our enemies. We need to understand. Yeah. So I hope this segment provides a different perspective of financial literacy. Like I mentioned earlier on, moderation. I'm not saying that striker is not good. Go and have it. I'm not saying that forex, option, futures, or even contract for differences is bad. No. If you have done up your goalkeeper is solid, your defender is solid, your midfielder is done up, go and try. Go and try. Use your striker and go and try. Because all of this has already formed your foundation. Your entire pitch, right, is solid already. Your striker don't score a goal, never mind. Maybe your midfielder can help you score. Right? But if your midfielder is not even there, right, your striker don't score a goal, right, you can never win because it's defender and goalkeeper. Okay, so I hope this provides a new perspective to you guys. I hope this, because I'm trying to make it easier. Usually when talking, nobody likes to talk about finance. I personally feel, whenever talk about money, right, things get a little sensitive. So I try to make it into an analogy, right? I spend a lot of hours to come out of this because I myself love to watch soccer. I realize that soccer is a huge sport. I should probably be able to relate to most of the people that I speak to. Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty lengthy. I hope you guys understand the framework and the essence of it. So before I proceed to the next segment, right? Maybe can I just have a quick yes or no? Are you guys following me so far? Let me have a quick. Yes. Yes, and yes or no? Maybe you can type in the chat. Okay, great. So I see one. I'm going to move on. Okay. All right. So next up, right? Can I give you a glimpse, right, into your future in terms of wealth? Your cash flow, right, is a representation of your present. Present as in like now, present. Your net worth, right, is a representation of your past. Because if you did something right last time, it will reflect today. If you put these two together, I give you a glimpse of your future. Therefore, I want to share with you guys this formula today. All right. So this is FV equal PV bracket 1 plus R to the power of N. Have you seen this formula before? Anybody seen this before? Yes, yes, no, no. If you guys see this, yes, probably one of you guys are chartered financial advisor, So this is stuff that I took courses to make sure that I learned so that I'll be able to simplify it for my client. Right? So FV, right, represents your wealth. PV represents your resources. Okay. R represents your returns. And N represents your time. Okay, follow me so far? Today in wealth creation, I understand you have concerns with it being too long. You want something with returns in 2 to 3 years. But there are 3 things I take into consideration when it comes to wealth creation. True wealth creation, not those kind of whereby I invest a simple stock 1 year later, 100% I'm going to withdraw. True wealth creation. Okay, resources works in the principle of addition. So let me ask you, in terms of resources, we are talking about your house, etc. So this kind, right, we can only add on. We don't multiply it, correct? Right. So your returns work in the principle of multiplication. Okay. So last of all, time works in the principle of exponential growth. The longer you are in the market, the more growth your wealth will be. Albert Einstein, right, once mentioned compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. I'm not sure if anybody of y'all heard it. This is a rather popular concept, a rather popular quote, right, when we are talking about personal finances. Yeah. So basically, your resources, right, is A and I, and I and E. So what does it mean? Assets and liabilities, income and expenses. So these are your resources. Okay. So between your income and expenses is your surplus. These are money that are floating around that you don't need it because you already set aside your expenses, right? So how asset works, right, is asset feeds us while we are alive. Liabilities eats us even when we are asleep. So I'm just going to give a very quick scenario, okay? Maybe some of you guys don't agree with me because I believe in terms of experience in life, you guys are probably way ahead of me. Is property an asset? Let's have a quick poll, let's take a quick break, right? And make sure that we're engaging. So let's key in the chat. Is property an asset? Okay, generally yes. So property is an asset lah. So anybody here, right, feels property is a liability? Yes. Okay. So I will assume that a majority lah. I just want to speed it up. I believe I only have till 9:30, right? So I'm just gonna speed it up, right? So property. Majority of you guys think that property is an asset. So in my own opinion, as an investor, correct. SMS, I don't really know your true name, so I'm just going to call you SMS, okay? Take loan plus liability. So in my opinion, as an advisor, as an investor, leverage property is an asset. Property itself is a liabilities. Because let's go back to here. Let's go back to here. You see how assets works, right? Assets feeds us while we are alive, unless you have rental income, and you have after your rental income paying off your loan, you still have surplus. That's asset. But if your rental income is only to pay off the loan, right? In my own opinion, it's still liabilities because it doesn't feed you. Yeah. See, liabilities, right, eat us even when we're asleep. So every single month when you're paying your monthly installment, we have to come out money to pay. How is this an asset? It is an asset, right? Only if it appreciates in the next 20, 30 years. But how do we know? What I'm talking about is now. Now. You see this formula over here, future value equal present value. So when we're talking about resources, right? As of now, right, if your property is not leveraged, so these are some other concept, right, that we can have a private discussion if you have a fully paid property. So, there's this thing called home equity loan, cash out refinancing. These are stuff that I discuss with my clients in private. I have the knowledge, but I don't have the proper certification to advise. So I can give a sharing on a personal level, but not as a whole lah. So anybody if is interested in this topic, right, we can have a chat. So just a very quick brief explanation, right? If your property is fully paid off, right, you are able to withdraw cash from property. Do you know that? I'm sure some of you know that. Cash out refinancing, home equity loan. So let's have this scenario. You cash out this money from the property at a very low interest rate, because right now the interest rate market is great. You take this amount, you invest into a bond or a fixed income or growth income stock or funds that provides dividend. You take the dividend, you pay off your loan. Technically, right, a portion of your flat, right, is self-funding. All right, so this is something entirely different from today's topic. So this is just a glimpse of it. We can have a discussion in private if anybody of you is keen. All right, so let me just carry on. So I mean, this is a good discussion. I think I personally believe that property is a very tricky asset class because it can fall into liability because you're paying it every month. Yeah, we all now paying for the property, right? Thinking that it will definitely go up. I think Singapore market it will, but how much? In the past, maybe we are talking about 20, 30 years ago, 30 to 40 years ago, when Singapore is a developing country, right? Many investors would like to come in to buy flat, right? Or people who already bought flat and then it developed into a financial hub as today, right? You probably have flipped a few times. Maybe you're talking about 30, 40%, 50% of your entire flat. 500K, possibly you could have sold for your condo or even landed, right, for 1 mil. If you bought it like 20, 30 years ago and it's freehold, right? But right now, right, if we were going to look at the statistics and stuff, I'm not the property agent, so I'm not going to show this graph. I will provide all this on a private discussion. But if you're going to do a quick research, right, property returns, property market returns right now, it's not as attractive as before. Yeah. So which is why, right, I touched on this topic a little bit. Okay. So today, when we work together, right, we can look at how we can reduce the unnecessary expenses and to increase your surplus every single month. Income is on you, but we aim to help you build assets to help you get passive income. That is my main goal. All right. So this is what we aim to do. Passive income is something that is for money. There is money for income. That's asset because it feeds you, right? It might not be able to feed you a very luxurious steak in the start, but I think it's able to feed you every day. You go to Cai Peng, maybe you order one more meat. Yeah, I think the passive income can feed you one more meat every meal. As you accumulate, eventually 10, 20 years later, or even maybe we just talk about 5, 10 years later, maybe every single day you can start eating a steak or salmon, or slightly better. I don't know what you guys like. It's just an example, right? So in order to have the ultimate freedom, right, is it only if your freedom today can be bought by passive income? It is. It is only if your freedom can be bought by passive income. That's why I'm constantly talking about today's resources. Yeah, property agents, they always have to sell you the future values. Nobody knows. I mean, so far it's pretty decent. I have confidence in Singapore property market as well. But if you're talking about generating 8-10% year on year, I don't have confidence in that. You're looking about 3 to 4%, 4 to 5, right? Capital yield plus rental yield, right? I think that's not too bad. Singapore property market is still able to do. Okay. So when do you stop? You stop when your passive income, right, is enough to cover your expenses and other things in life. This is our ultimate goal. As much as we are passionate about our job, but I think we would enjoy it, right? If we don't have our boss breathing down our neck, or if there's a deadline to meet, we really like what we do. Like myself, I love it. I love speaking to people about financial literacy because I believe there is a true value in what I do. So that one day if I were to leave this earth, right, I know that the community around me remember me, hey, Ian helped me set up this. I know that in the next 10 to 20 years, right, I'm set. At the very least, even if you're going to pass on, I'll probably remember him as a person. So I'm very passionate about this. I'm happy, in what I'm doing. But of course, I also wish that, right, I can achieve my own financial freedom in the next probably 10 to 20 years. So that I can just share, I can just, actively going out and spend more time to educate more people. Yeah, but right now, I'm setting my own family. I just bought a flat, which is why I'm Roy's neighbor. I literally bought this resale flat in Sengkang, right, in this year. Yeah. So when all this is fully paid off, I think I'll be happier. Through freedom. I'm someone who likes to sing a lot. Maybe I can go and pursue my hobby. As something that I can enjoy. Go join a club, go and sing, just have fun. Knowing that everything is well taken care of, my kids will be well off, even though it's something will happen to me. My kids are well mannered, well educated, not just academically wise. I think in life philosophy as well. Then I think that's true freedom. I know that I've done my part on earth. Time to enjoy, right? So it is my desire today for every client of mine, right, to be financially free. For some, it's 45 years. For majority, it's 60 to 65 years. That's the standard retirement age that Singapore has set a standard for us, right? So with that, right, I'm going to conclude my today's sharing. So this is this is a sharing to make sure that all of us are well educated in terms of the three component, that the three framework, right, I do for my clients: wealth protection, wealth accumulation, and wealth management. Okay. So with that, I end my sharing over here. So I'm going to proceed to Q&A. Maybe if anybody here want to stop the recording, and I go to my next slide. So my next slide is Q&A. Yes. I'm not sure